Have you ever had a day where you have done almost nothing, and yet, by the end of it, you feel completely drained? You have rested your body, but your mind feels as though it has run a marathon. There is a unique kind of exhaustion that has nothing to do with physical labor. It is a deep, mental fatigue, a fog that clouds your focus, shortens your temper, and steals your joy. You sleep for 8 hours, but wake up feeling like you are still running on empty. We are taught to look for the big drains on our energy. A demanding job, a difficult relationship, a major life challenge. We look for the flood that is emptying our reservoir. Then a burning job, a difficult relationship, a major life challenge. We look for the flood that is emptying our reservoir. But what if the greatest drain is not a flood, but a slow, silent leak? An invisible crack in the foundation of your mind, through which your most precious resource, your mental energy, seeps away, drop by drop, all day long. This leak is not caused by what you do, but by what you replay. It is a habit so common, so automatic, that most of us don't even recognize it as a habit at all. We believe it is just how we think. Today, we are going to expose it, understand it, and seal it. The silent habit that is draining your life force is called mental rumination. The word rumination comes from the Latin word ruminare, which describes how a cow chews its cud. It chews, swallows, regurgitates, and chews again. It is a cycle that goes on and on. This is exactly what your mind does when it ruminates. It takes a past hurt, a mistake, a moment of embarrassment, or a future worry, and it chews on it. It replays the event from every angle. It analyzes every word that was said. It imagines different outcomes. Then it swallows the thought, only to bring it back up moments later to chew on it again. This is not the same as problem solving. Problem solving is an active, forward-moving process. You analyze a situation to find a solution, to learn a lesson, to create a plan. It has a destination. Rumination is a wheel stuck in the mud. It spins furiously, burning enormous amounts of fuel, digging itself deeper and deeper, but it goes absolutely nowhere. It is not seeking a solution, it is obsessing over the problem. It is not learning from the past, it is reliving its pain. It is not preparing for the future, it is pre-living its anxiety. You do this when you lie in bed at night, replaying an awkward conversation from the morning. You do this when you are driving, mentally arguing with someone who isn't there. You do this when you are trying to focus on a task, but your mind is stuck in a loop, worrying about a deadline or a what-if scenario. Each of these loops is a small leak, but when the loops run on autopilot all day, every day, the drops become a steady stream. This is why you are so tired. Your brain has been in a constant, low-grade state of fight or flight, wrestling with ghosts of the past and phantoms of the future, all while you are just trying to wash the dishes or answer an email. You are running two minds at once, the one that is present in the world and the one that is stuck chewing on the cud of old problems. The first step to sealing this crack is recognition. It is to give this invisible enemy a name. When you feel that familiar pull into a negative thought loop, I want you to pause and name it. This is rumination. This simple act of labeling creates a space. It pulls you out of the wheel and places you on the ground beside it. You are no longer the wheel, you are the observer of the wheel. But you might ask, if this habit is so useless and draining, why does my brain do it? Why is it so good at it? To answer this question, we must look at the fundamental design of the human brain. Your brain is a magnificent problem-solving machine. For hundreds of thousands of years, its primary job was to scan the environment for threats, replay past failures to avoid repeating them, and simulate future dangers to prepare for them. This internal simulation was a key to our survival. The ancestor who could mentally replay the failed hunt and identify the mistake was the one who ate the next day. The one who could imagine the predator behind the rock was the one who avoided it. Your brain's tendency to drift into the past and future is not a bug, it is a feature. But in the modern world, this feature has been hijacked. The threats are no longer a scarcity of food, but a critical comment from your boss. The failures are no longer a broken tool, but an awkward social interaction. The raw survival mechanism is still there, but the targets have changed, and it often gets stuck in a loop. When you are actively focused on a task, reading a book, having a conversation, solving a math problem, specific parts of your brain light up to handle the job. But what happens when you are not focused on anything in particular? When you are driving on a familiar road, standing in line, or trying to fall asleep, for a long time, it was assumed the brain simply went quiet, conserving energy, but modern neuroscience has shown us the exact opposite is true. When your mind is at rest, a specific network of brain regions becomes highly active. This is called the default mode network, or the DMN. You can think of it as your brain's screensaver, or its autopilot mode. The discovery of the DMN, largely credited to the work of neurologist Dr. Marcus Reichel in the early 2000s, revolutionized our understanding of the resting brain. Dr. Reichel and his team noticed that this network consistently became active when people were not engaged in any external task. And what does this network do? It is the seat of self-referential thought. It is what allows you to think about yourself, remember your past, and imagine your future, narrate as the narrator of your life story. Here is the critical part. The DMN is an energy glutton. Your brain, despite being only 2% of your body weight, consumes about 20% of your body's total energy. The DMN, when active, is one of the biggest consumers of that energy. The DMN, when active, is one of the biggest consumers of that energy. The DMN, in a healthy, balanced mind, the DMN activates when you need to reflect, and then deactivates when you need to focus on the present moment. There is a smooth transition. However, in individuals who struggle with rumination, anxiety, or depression, studies have shown that the DMN becomes hyperactive and rigidly connected. It doesn't switch off. The narrator never stops talking. The brain gets stuck in its own default mode. This is the neuroscience of the invisible leak. Imagine leaving your car engine running in neutral all night. The car goes nowhere, achieves nothing, but in the morning, the gas tank is empty. This is your brain on rumination. Your overactive default mode network is the engine, stuck in a high revving state, burning through your precious mental fuel glucose as it chews on old problems and worries about the future. This is why you feel so drained. Your brain has been performing intense, energy-consuming work, but it's work that produces no forward momentum. It is the biological equivalent of spinning your wheels in the mud. You are mentally exhausting yourself by going nowhere. Understanding this is profoundly empowering. Your fatigue is not a character flaw. It is the predictable outcome of a specific neural network running on overdrive. You are not weak. Your brain is simply stuck in a draining, inefficient pattern. But if this is a default setting, are we destined to be drained by it? No. The master knows that a default setting is not a destiny. It is merely a starting point. The hardware of the brain might have its defaults, but the software of the mind can be rewritten. We can learn to consciously and intentionally shift the brain out of this draining state. And to do that, we need the right tools. We need a way to seal the leak at its source. To know that your brain has a faulty default setting is one thing. To actively change it is another. This is where wisdom becomes action. This is where you cease to be a victim of your own wiring and become the architect of your mind. You do not need complex rituals or years of training to begin. Tool mind. You only need a few simple, powerful tools. Think of this as your master's toolkit for mental repair. These techniques are designed to do one thing: to break the hypnotic trance of the overactive default mode network and pull your awareness back into the present moment, where your true power resides. Tool number 1, the pattern interrupt. A rumination loop is a pattern. It is a smooth, well-worn path in your brain. To escape it, you must jolt yourself off the path. You must interrupt the pattern. This is not a gentle nudge, it is a hard stop. The moment you recognize you are stuck in a loop, deploy a physical or sensory shock to your system. The goal is to create a moment of what just happened that forces your brain to disengage from the internal chatter and focus on the immediate, physical world. This can be incredibly simple. If you are sitting, stand up abruptly, go to a sink and splash cold water on your face. The shock of the cold is a powerful anchor to the present. Clap your hands sharply one time. Step outside for a single breath of fresh air. Or use a verbal command. Say the word stop out loud, not with anger, but with the calm authority of a master commanding a dog to heel. This is not a distraction, it is a circuit breaker. You are using a physical action to override a mental one, forcibly pulling your attention out of the past or future and planting it firmly in the here and now. The loop cannot survive in the present moment. Tool number 2, the containment practice. One of the greatest mistakes we make is trying to fight our thoughts. Telling yourself don't think about it is a guaranteed way to think about it more. The master does not fight the river. They build canals to direct its flow. This tool is about containing, not combating, your worries. It is called the worry window or the containment practice. Designate a specific, limited period of time each day, say 15 minutes at 4:30 p.m. as your official, scheduled time to ruminate and worry. This is your worry window. For the rest of the day, when a worry or a ruminating thought appears, you will not fight it. You will acknowledge it. And then, with calm authority, you will defer it. You say to your mind, "Thank you for this thought. It is important and I will give it my full attention later, at 4:30, during my scheduled time." At first, this will feel artificial, but you are training your brain. You are teaching it that it does not need to sound the alarm every second of the day. You are creating a structure for its chaos. What you will find is that when your 4:30 window arrives, many of the day's urgent worries have already dissolved. And for those that remain, you can address them with focused attention, rather than having them leak into every hour of your day. You are containing the leak. Tool number 3, the mindful shift. The pattern interrupt is a hard stop. The containment practice is a structured delay. This third tool is a soft, graceful disengagement. It is the art of shifting from being in the thought to being the observer of the thought. When you notice the wheel of rumination beginning to spin, instead of focusing on the story, the details of the past event, the fears of the future, shift your attention to the pure sensation of the thought itself. Notice it as an event happening in your mind. Is it loud or quiet? Is it a voice or an image? Does it create a feeling in your body, a tightness in your chest, a knot in your stomach? Do not judge it. Do not analyze it. Simply observe it as you would observe a cloud passing in the sky. By shifting your focus from the content to the process, you create separation. The thought is no longer me, it is something my mind is doing. In that small space, you find freedom. Every time you use one of these tools, you are doing more than just finding temporary relief. You are physically rewiring your brain. This is based on a foundational principle in neuroscience known as Hebbian theory, often simplified to the phrase, neurons that fire together, wire together. When you ruminate, you are activating a specific neural pathway. The more you do it, the stronger and more automatic that pathway becomes. It becomes a superhighway. But every time you use a pattern interrupt, or defer a worry to your worry window, or perform a mindful shift, you are choosing not to travel that old road. Instead, you are beginning to forge a new path. You are activating a different set of neurons, neurons associated with presence, self-regulation, and conscious control. Think of it like creating a path in a dense forest. The old path of rumination is wide and easy to follow. The new path of awareness is small and requires effort at first, but every time you consciously choose the new path, you clear it a little more. You strengthen that new connection, and at the same time, the old superhighway, from disuse, begins to get overgrown. You are not just managing your thoughts. You are a neurosculptor, actively strengthening the circuits for peace and weakening the circuits for mental leakage. You now have the tools, but what is the purpose? What does life look like when the leak is finally sealed? It is not a life without problems. It is a life where you have the full capacity of your mind available to solve them. It is a life where challenges are met with focused clarity, not preemptive exhaustion. It is the ability to be fully present with the people you love, without the narrator of your DMN pulling you into a past regret or a future worry. It is the ability to listen, not just hear, to see, not just look. It is the mental space for creativity to blossom, the quietness required for deep work, the stillness from which joy and gratitude naturally arise. Mensch of Binzev, it is waking up in the morning and feeling that your mind is a calm, clear lake, not a turbulent sea. This is not a distant dream. This is the direct result of sealing the leak. The energy was always yours. It was never lost, only misdirected. By ceasing to fuel the endless loops of rumination, you free up that power for the things that truly matter. You stop watering the weeds, and you start watering the garden. The identity you once held, perhaps as a worrier or an overthinker, begins to dissolve. You are not a ruminator, you are simply a person whose powerful mind had a powerful habit. Now, you are learning to give that powerful mind a new, more skillful habit. You are not fixing something that is broken. You are training something that is strong. We began this journey by identifying an invisible leak, the source of a fatigue you could not explain. We looked into the very wiring of our brains and discovered the default mode network, the overactive engine burning our fuel to go nowhere. And we have assembled a master's toolkit, not to fight our minds, but to gently and skillfully guide them back to the present moment, resculpting our neural pathways with every conscious choice. So, the next time you feel it, that familiar pull of your mind into a loop, that seductive whisper to replay an old story or pre-play a future fear, I want you to pause. And instead of seeing it as the leak, I want you to see it for what it truly is: misdirected energy, a river without a riverbed, power without a purpose. You are the engineer of your mind. You are the master of the flow. The energy that once fueled your worry is the very same energy that can fuel your focus, your creativity, your presence, and your peace. The loops in your mind are not your prison. They are a sign of a powerful engine that has been left in neutral. The question is no longer how you will stop this energy. The question is, what great and worthy purpose will you choose to direct this powerful current towards today? Gratitude,